song that's never been heard. How do you know when you hear the call? What do you do when you've done it all? Cannonball, 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 cannonball. It's not what you do, it's how you do. Be anything you want to be. It's not what you got, it's how you use it. You be you and I'll be me, it's just a matter of style. You can't fake it, mile after mile, feeling free. If you got the soul, you can make it. Move 'em out, let 'em roll, from sea to shining sea. Ball, cannonball. What do you do when the mountain is there? How do you answer the challenging dare? And when your back's against the wall, what do you do when you've done it all? Cannonball, cannonball, cannonball. It's not what you do, it's how you do. Be anything you want to be. It's not what you got, it's how you use it. You be you and I'll be me, it's just a matter of style. You can't fake it, mile after mile, feeling free. If you got the soul, you can make it. Move 'em out, let 'em roll, from sea to shining sea.
Yes, indeed. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, brothers and sisters. This is the Apex Online Racing F1 2017 Season 14, Round 11 here at Hungary. My name is King-Kodiak and I will be your commentator. And I need to breathe. Running out of breath down quick there. I will be your commentator for this evening's race alongside, I'm glad to have back at my side, Mr. Hamish Sopwith.
Yes, hello everyone. Good evening. It's round, whatever it is,
11.
Round 11 in Hungary. We're midway through the European season, and just like King-Kodiak, I am also going to be a bit rusty today, but it should be a good race. This is very much the Monaco permanent racetrack. It's similar in Monaco. It's very low speed, very high downforce, not much on the full throttle. In fact, only 44% of your lap is on the full throttle. And it's very difficult to overtake, so we should see a pretty exciting race. Qualifying is going to be exciting.
It has been 3 long weeks since we've been able to get a F1 2017, I should say Season 14 commentary done. We have had, in the break, we had the Christmas Cup, which the Classic Christmas Cup, which was great fun to commentate on. The races were so fast because they were only 25% races, but they were so good. My inner F1 geek did flips talking about the classic cars. We have got 19 drivers. I think we are waiting for the 20th to have a complete grid here for the top split. So as soon as our drivers are in, we will get our qualifying session for the Hungaroring underway. And what a track we have got lined up. 14 turns. Very high downforce. What sort of wing configuration would you run as a driver?
Well, you're probably looking at, at least in previous games, I am testing this game, 11-11 or 10-11. Some people will run a bit lower, so if they're quite good, if they feel that they can get the early turn in, and they're okay with a little bit of understeer, they're going to be able to get the car turned in and just use slightly less wing, and that means that you can actually use the DRS to your advantage down that main straight. It's probably the best chance for overtaking down the main straight. It's 900 meters long, so it's not like, you know, tiny, but it's not massive either.
Countdown is done. We are counting it. Sorry, Hamish, carry on.
No, that's all right. So just running lower wings can really help round here, but it does compromise you big time in the corner.
Right, our 20th driver did join us, so we have got a full grid here in Hungary, and I am absolutely buzzing for it. The championship is very, very close at the moment. The top 2 spots, as I will display once we are in, are actually joint between Timp and Formula Danny. Now, Formula Danny is technically in the lead as a result of this because he has had 3 wins to Timp's 2. But if I bring up, there it is. Keyboard shortcuts working. Both of them on 164 points at the top of the table. A massive 63 ahead of Topar, who's been in third pretty much all season long, or for the vast majority of it. So yeah, it is very, very tight at the top, but 250 points still on the table. It could still swing any way. We have also got a new addition to this series. The eagle-eyed amongst you would have probably noticed that the video segments in the introduction have changed. Let's get rid of that. We've all seen that before. That is because Kez has decided to step down from the Williams seat. Now, I draw your attention to the name that is 4 up from the bottom. It is Mr. Hamilton 44 who takes that Williams seat. It is Mads Sorensen. We also have a spare driver in third position. Well, I say third position, third in the list. It is car Renegade 37. He is standing in for Randrop in the Ferrari seat. And there are all 20 drivers just waiting for one of them to get on the field, and we'll get this lovely qualifying session underway.
Yeah, so I love this track. This is one of my favourite tracks on the calendar. There's a few tracks I particularly like, and this is definitely one of them. When when you've nailed a lap round here, there's so many difficult corners. You've got the blind turn-in of turn 4, which is just, you can take at so much speed, and if you get it right, it's actually an overtaking opportunity. You have a really tight chicane of 6 and 7, which is very technical. You need to be really careful on the power through turn 5, and then you've got this sort of relatively high speed third sector, really, with, you know, turns 12, 13, and 14 sort of being a pretty high speed relative to the rest of the track. So it's just a fantastic track, and it's very narrow. And if you make a mistake, you're going to be in the grass of a wall, or maybe even into someone else, because the racing is that tight round.
Now that's interesting. We've just lost Brandon Lee already. That's not good.
That's strange. Well, we will restart if that is the case. So we will just wait for the go-ahead from the coordinators.
I mean, if we see everybody leave session, then we know that the session is being restarted. Look at this. That's Isaac Price close to one of the Renaults. No one else is jumping out of the server as yet, although Brandon is still listed as in session.
I didn't see his name leave, so...
Could be the game lying to me. Wouldn't be the first time we've had a quirk like that. He is still listed. There he is. He hasn't left the pits yet, but of course if he has had a disconnect, then that would be why. There is our stand-in, car Renegade 37. I am told that he actually left session. Oh, it's going to be interesting. Now, that could cause a session restart. That'll be interesting, because I was informed that both quali and race were due to be dry, so if we have to restart the session, that runs the risk of changing.
Yeah, Hungary is one of those tracks. I mean, pretty much all European tracks are prone to this, but Hungary and our next round in Spa as well, they're very much prone to potential wet weather. In fact, and even the round before, Silverstone, you know, it's very possible that we're going to get a wet race.
We will see. I mean,
asking me for an invite.
Which you won't be able to do as we are in session. So yeah, Brandon's obviously had a trouble. We will see, as we haven't had a notification that the session's being restarted. He's just messaged me. So yeah, Brandon is having some difficulty, of course, as the first laps are now being set. Tim setting the first one with 1:16.7. We will see what's going to be the case here. A little bit uncertain as the disconnect did happen before the laps come in, so I don't know, now that laps have been set, I don't know whether that's going to stand or not.
That would be pretty unusual, to be honest. I mean, AOR have a rule that says if someone disconnects before a time lap has been set, the session is restarted. So yes, I'm not entirely sure why we haven't started, to be honest.
I'm just messaging someone to get some idea. As Sven gets a time of the board of 1:16.5, so that gives you an indication of what sort of times to expect. I've just sent a message out to Fizzy to see if he's able to comment on what is going on. But until we get confirmation otherwise, we will take it that this is the qualifying session. As we just saw, the Pink Panther runs slightly wide, and I've just had another frustration message there from Brandon, just basically a series of and there's another one from Brandon.
Yeah, that seems quite strange. Drivers on a lap, Riker Gordon, he's on a lap in Sector 2, doesn't look particularly astonishing. I think pole time is actually going to be around that 16.5 we've seen from Sven, which is pretty competitive. Some of the best time trial times in the world at the moment are at a 16.3, so you could expect drivers to be a couple of tenths off that. So potentially Sven with that 2 tenths advantage has already gone there. However, Fab Racer, he's gone straight into pole, a 16.3. That's a pretty solid lap. I wonder if someone's going to be beating that. So maybe my estimations are a bit too pessimistic.
Yeah, I've got Brandon asking me what's happening as well, so apologies for the pause menu popping up there. Just seeing what's going on there, because technically, as we've said, that should really be a restart. But the times are going on. No one has left session. No one else has left session. But it is strange that Brandon is still listed in session. That could be what's causing a bit of confusion. But at this point in time, we have Fabrizio Donato at the top spot, RC Fab Racer, with Sven Sorensen in second position, with Matt Sorensen. I say Sven Sorensen. That's not right, is it? Is that right?
Sorry?
Is it Sven Sorensen? I can't remember.
No, it's Sven, and then we have
Sven, and then Matt Sorensen. I'm muddling up my names now.
I think Sorensen's Hamilton.
Yes, it is. Yeah, that's where I was. As soon as I said it, I thought that's not right.
It's very odd that I'm not entirely sure what the procedure is now, because we're so far into qualifying.
It could be that as I say, being that I'm not a coordinator, I honestly don't know what the situation is here. When you see this pause menu popping up, that's because I'm just trying to send messages to people to see what's what. So yeah, unfortunately, I know as much as you. Brandon is understandably unhappy about it, but I honestly don't know. But we have got quite a few people that haven't set a lap, so I really don't know what's happening in those.
He's on a lap. I don't know if it's any good.
Topar's just gone up to the top spot.
Topar's just got pole. Yeah, that's good. Isaac is on a pretty solid lap. In fact, he's matching the session best first sector. I think his second sector was pretty good, so we should expect to see him in the top 7, I would have thought, after this lap. He's coming into a pit.
He's coming into the pits.
I would have thought in the last complex. Sometimes drivers just go out to get a feel for the track, then they come back in, then out again. Everyone's on the super soft tyres. No one's just go onto the soft compound tyres for qualifying, which is understandable.
Seagra's set a time with 1:17.4.
Indeed. So it's pretty close so far. We've got we've got about 12 drivers in about a second, so that's pretty good for us.
Yeah, again, I am sort of trying to ferry messages around, which is why that pause menu keeps popping up. I do apologise for that for those watching the stream. So yeah, we have got very few people on track at the moment. So Seagra is one of them, as we can see. Topar actually is on track, despite the fact he is on pole, but only by such a narrow margin. 19 thousandths of a second separates the top two.
Super close.
Quite
Sven's went faster as well. He was a 0.5 earlier. He's now down to 0.48. So he's gone. I think he's gone about half a tenth quicker.
Who is this?
Sven.
So Sven's in. Yeah, Sven's in the pits at the moment.
No, he set a lap which was faster than his original.
Oh, I beg your pardon.
He was a 0.5. He's now 0.4. And Hamilton, in fact, it was a good job he went a little bit faster because Hamilton's just. He went a little bit faster as well with 16.5.
Yeah, he did. So Topar currently on the top spot with Fab Racers still in the pit, and we have a problem in Sector 1.
Not entirely sure who that is. I'm not getting anything on my information, but the flag has gone away now. It's not going to affect anyone. It's pretty important for Topar. If he wants to regain control of the championship, I say control, if he wants to put himself back into the championship, he needs to start winning races, because Topar's had a bit of a win drought since round 5 in Spain. He's had a DNS and a DNF, which really affected him. Remember Azerbaijan, where he crashed out when he was doing quite well, I think, at the time. He got a P10 in Austria, which didn't help. P2 in Silverstone, so that's the first. That is his first really good race. So now I actually have some information.
Yes, you've probably just been given the same piece of information as me. Did you just get the grid's going to be reset for the race?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the information we have now got is that we're going to restart for the race with the grid editor. Brandon's going to be starting at the back.
At least he gets to start.
Yes, exactly. So Brandon is going to be happy about that. Some reason some people didn't see that Brandon disconnected, which I believe is what the message we had, and I didn't see that, although you did, so that was why people continued. And
to be fair, he is still listed as in service, so I can understand where that miscommunication has come from. I'm surprised. I mean, we've got less than 2 minutes to go, and still we've got 6 drivers without a lap. Well, Brandon is of course one of them who can't do anything about it, but Max hasn't left the pits. Formula Danny!
Wow.
Oh, look at that!
3
drivers in within a tenth. 1:16.278 for the Haas driver. Whoa! That's a statement of intent. Everybody except for Max that's in session is on track. So we've got a very, very busy. But it's going to be 3 minutes. Look at that! Look at the top 2. Carl Hamilton's just set a time 1,000ths slower than the Haas of Formula.
Sven's going quick as well. He was half a tenth up when I last looked, and his lap time of a 0.4 was quick already. What's it going to be around the last corner? Good traction off the line, and Sven's just got pole. And I thought it was a good lap because I've been watching him, and he has indeed. He's got I've got a 0.220, but it came up as a 0.2.
Yeah. 220 I've got as well. 4 drivers within a tenth, and to be fair, Donaso's only 5,000ths outside of that tenth, and then it's another 4 tenths down to, or was 4 tenths down to. We've just had another shuffle at the top. Isaac Donaso again. Wow, he's found 3 tenths out of nowhere. Fabrizio Donaso in the Pink Panther, who has, for the 3 races he has been with us, he has yet to finish them, which is a great shame. He just has had no luck and starts this race 3 tenths ahead of Sven for that pole spot.
You never guess what, Fab Racer's already going quicker. He's backed out now, but he's actually going quicker in that first sector. He was saying a purple first sector. 15.8 is pretty insane. Hamilton's went faster as well with a 0.1. I'm sorry, I'm not sure if you already said about Kodiak.
Isaac Price has spun it.
Yes. Marek has decided to retire from the session.
Yeah.
Not surprising with some of the lap times we've seen. I mean, the qualifying was close until about 30 seconds ago.
Yeah, Sven did not improve, as a Fab Racer has backed off that we know. And just gone for a trip on the grass. Topar just crossing the line. Does he improve? He does! Up to second! 68,000ths behind Fabrizio Donaso.
Wow.
Tim.
I mean, that is pretty incredible. Under attempt, like you said.
Tim's backed out of it. So he will be starting no better than 7th. Failer is still on track. Here's the next Sauber. Where is he? He is on between 11 and 12.
Taylor is, for some reason, going. He's so far for pace at the moment. He's 13 seconds plus. Yeah. So he's backed off, and this is your qualifying grid.
This is your qualifying grid, with the exception of Brandon. Well, Brandon and Max are the two that didn't set a time. Brandon, of course, we know had a disconnection problem, so it's been decided that because it was discovered so late, I think is I would assume is the reasoning behind why the grid editor is being used on this occasion. But that is not a. It's very rare for that sort of thing to go unnoticed. But obviously, human error this time has happened. But
it's the first time we've used this as well. I think
it's the first time I have ever known it happen. Yes, where where the qualifying session wasn't restarted.
So. Pretty exciting qualifying. I mean, a 15. Wow. I didn't expect anyone to get into the 15s. We had 2 drivers into the 15s. My original prediction of a 16.5 would have put me in sort of 7th, 8th place, so quite far off. So these drivers have exceeded expectation today.
Oh, I just jumped to our reserve driver, Car Renegade, who actually leads a really slow procession of cars. It's got a Red Bull, a Mercedes, and a Williams. Literally, it looks like they're tied together with a chain. That's quite amusing, actually. I'm assuming this is the case because they haven't officially retired from the session. So, yeah, we will have to see exactly. So everyone is going to be starting on the super soft tyre. That's probably not a great surprise. And we are in for a dry race, as has been confirmed. So it's going to go on.
Yeah, who is was it Grande or something? I didn't actually see his name.
Car Renegade is how he
yes.
A reserve driver. I'm afraid I don't know his real name, but here is the official grid. Mr. Hamish, take it away.
Well, Fab Racer, he's in pole 15.8. Very strong qualifying as always. Topar, for his championship, it's important. He's put it in second there, both within 1/10 of a second. Mr. Hamilton is in third. Then fourth, Danny, Isaac, Timp, Renegade, Renegade, and Failer, and Slick rounds out your top 10. A pretty close qualifying. The top 11 are within 1 second, so we should see a pretty exciting and close race. Considering.
I think it was 1.7 from top to bottom of those that set a time. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this rather.
I mean, Hungary is a really difficult track to overtake on, so that pole for Donoso is so important, and Topar will be very pleased with his lap. He needs to make sure he's always ahead of Danny and Timp now, and he's done a good job there.
Right, now I think... Now, this is the point that we kind of have to... we're not entirely certain how this is going to work. I'm assuming everyone's just going to have to leave this session because the grid editor can't have happened.
But unless... Yeah, I don't...
Because this isn't the standard process, we're a little bit unsure exactly how this is going to work. So what I'm assuming is we're going to jump down to the grid and everyone's going to disappear, but... I see Brandon's already gone.
We are racing.
We are racing, it seems.
Lights out and away we go. It does.
Although Fizzy is sat at the back, I think. There we go. Yeah. So
not everyone's got the information.
So there we go. As the host is gone, that in itself would trigger a restart, and people are just having a bit of a practice here, I would assume. So the information will filter down to our drivers, or at least I hope it will. That a restart is going to occur, although they seem very reluctant to leave. So Topar's probably enjoying the fact that he's jumped Fabrizio at the beginning.
Oh, he's going to be so frustrated with that. If nothing out, their mind games. I mean, yeah,
that's true. Actually, I think it is filtering down now as we are seeing people retiring from session and leaving session. So I'm hoping that it is going to filter down to them. Otherwise, I'd be putting a lot more energy into this commentary, let's be honest. Oh, dear.
Quite casual at the moment, but if nothing else, for bragging rights, Topar, he's finishing the first lap in first.
And about 8/10 ahead as well. I mean, if he's able to reproduce that for when we actually do the race, that would be quite something.
I mean, it's good for, race practice. It's it's easy to know what the car's going to feel like on full race fuel, only because drivers would have done it in practice, but not when you've got a full grid, because your braking point for the turn 1 and even turn 2 onwards, really, in the first lap, is all dictated about where other people are going to brake. So the drivers will be using that as information, what they can use to their advantage now. I'm a little concerned
that there's still a lot of racing going on in this particular session.
I've left, so
yeah.
I'm hoping.
There we go. Yeah, there we go. The flood of retirees and leavings is now happening. There we go. I'm now quite confident that I can leave the session without too much trouble. So apologies for that. Apologies for that, ladies and gentlemen. I was just loitering just to see whether there was going to be whether that someone suddenly decided at the last minute that we were going to run the original session. That was the only reason I was loitering with intent. It is now. Now that the flood of disconnections has come along, I'm now confident that we can get this sorted. So do apologise, ladies and gentlemen. We will get this sorted out as quickly as we can, and we will get what is going to be a very fascinating race underway as soon as we can.
Yeah, some people in chat are getting confused about our Discord setup and it being mandatory. Discord isn't mandatory. It's highly recommended, though, for things exactly like this. I mean, it's pretty much mandatory for any coordinator or anything to be in Discord, so they can pass information on. But unfortunately, we haven't got too many drivers in our Discord at the moment, which is why there was potentially quite a bit of confusion. Hopefully, more drivers after today will find that Discord is...
Indeed. I mean, it does make communicating things out there's a little bit more difficult, but obviously if you see most of your grid just disconnect, it's a bit of a clue that something's going on. You can understand it, if there's any doubt that the race may still run and you happen to be right at the front, then it's you can understand why people may hang on to that. But let's see what happens. We have got we're just getting this next session set up. Most people have got the idea. We've got 17 drivers in this next session. Brandon is one of them. I'm happy to report.
Yes, he was one of the first in, so
I'm not surprised.
It'll be interesting to see how Brandon does from the back, because we've seen Brandon go from like the front and slowly drop back before, but he's normally pretty far up there. I mean, in Austria, for example, he finished 12th, but the other two races he's contended in, he's actually won. It'll be interesting to see what his racecraft is like.
Indeed. Most people are in now. We've got 19 drivers that are back on board, I think. Although there's 2 slots at the bottom. You're in, aren't you?
Yes, I'm in.
You're not listed as a spectator. That's what's slightly throwing me off.
I will be entered onto that.
There we go. It was counting you as a driver. That's why I was thinking there was a slight discrepancy there. So we're just waiting for 2 drivers to return to us, and then
I haven't got my wheel set up, and I would be pretty hopeless on the keyboard. That is for sure.
Yeah, mine's on the floor, so I doubt I would do much with a gamepad. If I'm quite honest. So yes, we will. Like I say, apologies for this technical problem, ladies and gentlemen. What I'm going to do in the meantime is I'm just going to rerun the intro sequence, just so that there is something going on, as opposed to us trying to fill the air with nothing. And as soon as we get this session back underway, we will cut back to the action as quickly as we can. Also gives our coordinator a chance to get the actual grid element sorted out, because it's going to take a few moments as well. So do bear with us, ladies and gentlemen. We will be back with you as soon as we can.
What do you say when there are no words? Feel a song that's never been heard. How do you know when you hear the call? What do you do when you've done it all? Cannonball, cannonball, cannonball. It's not what you do, it's how you do. Be anything you want to be. It's not what you got, it's how you use it. You be you and I'll be me, it's just a matter of style. You can't fake it, mile after mile, feeling free. If you got the soul, you can make it. Move 'em out, let 'em roll, from sea to shining sea. Ball, cannonball. What do you do when the mountain is there? How do you answer the challenging day? And when your back's against the wall, what do you do when you've done it all? Cannonball, cannonball, cannonball. It's not what you do, it's how you do. Be anything you want to be. It's not what you got, it's how you use it. You be you and I'll be me, it's just a matter of style. You can't fake it, mile after mile, feeling free. If you got the soul, you can make it. Move 'em out, let 'em roll, from sea to shining sea.
Infinite power, infinite power, infinite power, infinite power, infinite power. Infinite power.
as I was madly scrambling around for a song to play, I managed to find the song Infinite Power by Fat Rat, which, as someone has spotted, yes, that is included in the Rocket League soundtrack. Royalty reasons is why I tend to go for that one. But we have got everybody back in the session again. Once again, apologies for the delay. I realise it must be highly frustrating, but we are now back underway again. Now, the grid should be sorted out, so once we get into session, this should be good to go.
Yep. Let's hope these drivers are raring to go. We certainly are. We haven't commentated on a race in 3 weeks.
And you've left session, apparently, Hamish.
What?
Oh, I've just had a message saying you've left session.
Like,
you might be commentating from the stream again.
okay, well, it still says I'm in at the moment. I have got 2 spare invites. My game hasn't crashed, so I should...
good. Good. Oh, yes, if you've still got spare invites, you should be able to hop on board then. Absolutely fine. So we are, as you can see, waiting for everybody to confirm what they need to confirm. Whether they're ready or not, we will be getting ready in 20 seconds' time. And hopefully Mr. Hamish will be able to hop on. But there he is. Fantastic. I have my second in command. Oh, wait, for second in command. That sounds awfully presumptuous.
You have partner in crime.
Yeah, that is my favourite term. Right. 3, 2, 1, and we should be switching down to the grid any moment. Everyone, please confirm in. And we've just lost our spare. We've lost our Gun Renegade. Oh, unbelievable. But 5 lights, wind them up, and let them go. We are away finally here in Hungary, assuming that we don't have to do another restart for the fact that we just lost Car Renegade. Then look at that. That's Fat Johnson and Topaz side by side coming into turn 1. Topaz getting the inside line. Can he repeat what he did earlier? He can. Can they force him to do anything about it? It doesn't look like he can. Topaz has got that lead again. Now Topaz is going to have the outside line coming through turn 2. And that's going to have the inside line for turn 3. And he's got him. Unbelievable. Topaz has managed to regain the lead.
Wow, what an overtake. I mean, we got the Merc, Renault for Williams super close. Riker Gordon's left the session.
Oh, no. Oh, there's a migrating host. We're going to have to... Yeah, we are going to have to rehost this, unfortunately. I do believe that, and there we go. We're going to be seeing a mass disconnection again. Oh, no. When the host migrates, it is customary for a complete... I mean, we've actually got a lot of people that suddenly listed on Outlaps, and oh, my goodness me, everything's going utterly crazy.
There's a little bit of bugs here and there.
Excellent. Everybody is called To Do. Now that I've never noticed.
This is exciting, or
what? This is, well, it's bizarre.
It is bizarre. We do obviously apologise. None of this is in our control.
To be fair, this is the first time we've had this much trouble getting a race underway. In certainly, this is the 3rd season I've commentated on for AOR F1 games, and it's the first time I've had a second restart to do. So, apologies there, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to have to revert back to some music. So, let's get Mr. Fat Rat back underway. We will get this session going again as soon as we can.
Infinite power, infinite power, infinite power, infinite power, infinite power.
Infinite power.
infinite power, infinite power, infinite power, power. Infinite power.
Right, here we go again. We had a last-minute disconnection just as we were about to start the countdown down again. There's a sentence you don't want to try and say when you're drunk. Right. Here we go again.
So, finally, third time lucky, let's hope. I think even if someone does disconnect, I think we're going to have to
run because we are nearly an hour.
Already disconnected.
Yeah, we are. Who's disconnected?
I'm not entirely sure, but I saw at the last minute it was 21 out of 22. I'm hoping it's not me. But
it looks like all the names appear to be there. Well, Brandon was the last to return, so no, that looks complete to me. I'm not going to try and count them all. All players have readied up.
Right, maybe it's me, which is fine if it is, because I can just rejoin off invite.
You can indeed, right. Looks right to me.
Okay, maybe it is just me then, maybe.
No, I count 20 there, so...
Okay, fair enough. So maybe it's just
It's
me.
you again!
And have I disconnected?
No, I haven't seen a message saying. So, again, we have the usual waiting for... Unless I've disconnected. Oh, no, there we go. I had a horrible feeling then that no one was readying up. Have you got the count on the top right-hand corner?
Yes, I've just got some people pressing the
same.
tick now.
Yes.
So
we're one step closer to actually racing here in Hungary.
Wow, gosh, this is the biggest suspense in Grand Prix history.
Topa must be sick because he's had such a great start twice. Can he do it when it counts, though? That's going to be the thing. Here we go. Down to the grid. Once again, no disconnects. 3, 4, 5 lights. Wind them up and let them go again. Topa has had a decent start. The timing board's completely wrong.
He's ahead.
He is! Oh my god, he's had a belting start! The timing board was actually completely wrong. As he lists form of Danny
at the inside! Hamilton's around the outside! It looks like Danny made contact with Fab Racer. Gosh! Dinoso, he's in third, fourth at the moment. Wow!
Danny's had a terrible start. Actually, the timing board's completely... Oh, there's been impact. Who was it?
Isaac's just...
Failer's falling all the way down. He's lost some wing. I think, oh my goodness me, he's been shoved wide as well. Brandon's already up to 12th. And there we go. Now the timing board has finally sorted itself out as people jumping up. And look at that. Topa's already half a second back ahead again. He must be smiling. Fabrics is down to 3rd. Oh my goodness me. Could this be another bad race for him? As Kalon and Brendan Lee swap position back there in 12th and 13th. It's impossible to look absolutely everywhere at this particular point, I'm sure you can understand. So Topar then already with half a 6/10 now, this time over Sven. Fabrice at 3rd, Hamilton 4. That's a weird sentence to say in this environment. Tim 5, Danny 6th, Isaac 7, Slick 8, Renegade 9, and non-runner rounds out the top 10.
Well, I mean, we have seen such a close race. I mean, Topar, has been able to do it 3 times in a row, and this time he has Sven as a barrier from him and Dinoso. So Sven's going to be closing down Topar. Obviously, he has the fastest lap by default. He is about half a second behind. He's not going to be trying to move into this first corner, but boy, when he has DRS, he's going to be pretty close to him. I mean, look how close everyone is. There's hardly any gaps in the racetrack at all, at least not to the top 10.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, you've got a gap. Kalon to Marek, 11th and 12th. But other than that, it's all within a second as Kalon and Brandon Lee swap position again.
And that's a bit naughty. Brandon seemed to push Kalon quite wide onto the grass there. I wonder if he'll have anything to say about that. Unless Kalon's getting some lag, because I have seen his car slow down a couple of times, or looking like he's had a lag spike or a green freeze. Raven's right on the back of him in Mount Williams' car.
So then the top 10 all separated fairly equidistantly. 7/10 Sven separates Topar and Sven. That's now gone to 8/10. So Topar is really beginning to stretch his legs. Fab Donaso there in 3rd position, 6/10 down. There is Matt Saracen. He has got Tim quite close for company. Formula Danny is keeping his championship rival really under pressure. 5th to 6th. There is Isaac Price, less than half a second down in 7th position. Slick in 8th. He's going 2 positions as Topar, of course, gets the fastest lap at the moment with a 1:19.3. There is our reserve driver car, Renegade, just 3/10 down from the McLaren. Non-runner in the Renault in 10th. Let's have a look further downfield. Marek, there he is in the second. Haas has got a little bit of a gap between himself and Brandon Lee in the Red Bull. That's 1.2. Now, go on.
something's happened to Isaac. He's had a huge major lag spike. He's now at 19th. I don't know what happened.
That's you, I think, because he's running in 7th on my screen.
Oh.
He's running quite normally. Oh! Fad Donoso has already got himself a 3-second penalty. Oh dear, that's very costly at this stage. That kind of puts him net around 6th or so, I think. That's very costly at this stage.
Yes, I was going to say earlier, this is a track where extending is quite a realistic possibility. As Donoso's just went extremely wide on my screen.
Yeah, he flew off the screen. He's now down to 5th. He's lost the position to Formula Danny now. He's down in 6th position. That's Isaac Price now is right with him in the Mercedes. He's going to nail the Force India down the inside. Goodness me, this is going from bad to worse for Donoso. And yet again, he just can't seem to get a break.
I don't know what's happened. I wonder if he can't have a slow punch or losing a wing maybe or something like that. It doesn't look like it. But McLaren's going to have a look on the exit probably of turn 14. Got DRS. He might just about be able to defend, but he's went from 3rd down to 7th in just like a few corners.
Few laps. Oh, he's having a look on the inside of turn 1, but he can't get the traction he needs. Although saying that, side by side. Oh, he was trying to get side by side with the Mercedes of Isaac Price, but couldn't quite get the traction he needed. As they lock up a little bit coming into turn 2, settling back into their rhythm. But look at that. That's Price, Fab Racer, Slick and Renegade all in very, very short succession. Non-runner and Marek. I think Brendan Lee on the back of that particular train as well. Yes, it is. So that's a big old gaggle of cars. But interesting, right at the top here, if you look, that's Sven and Topar. They've broken away from Carl Hamilton. So 1.6, 1.7 separates 2nd to 3rd. Sven was outside of a 2nd from Topar in the lead. Whoa, as you just see Hamilton fly, that's Matt Saracen flying too wide in the Williams. So that's going to lose him some time, and that's putting Timp right in this case as well. Sven was outside of DRS range, interestingly, for a period of time. And, wow, it's too much to keep up with.
It is. I mean, this is a track very much known for its close racing and its strategy, what plays a huge role. I mean, we could start to see drivers pitting quite soon if they're going onto the medium tyres. I'm thinking now, has Fabregas got nothing else to lose? I mean, he's came down the grid so much. I wouldn't be surprised to see him put onto medium tyres to try the undercut, but it will obviously make you much slower later on in the race. Marek has gained a position on Brandon through the DRS. I doubt Brandon's going to be able to make the move stick around the outside. He does have a look though on the Haas driver. He isn't able to make it stick on this occasion. Brandon's doing quite well. He's gained 7 positions. Looks like, oh my gosh, so Danny's got a pen.
That was Carl Hamilton as well. Yeah, so that's the Matt Saracen from 3rd position that's going to have a penalty along with Formula Danny. So, whoa! So we just seen a big tail slap over there from Marek coming through up to 6 and 7. So, yeah, it's all kicking off everywhere at the moment. And Sven is now outside of DRS range from Topar. Now, there's only one DRS detection point. There's 2 DRS straights. That's the main straight from 14 down to turn 1 and the short straight from 1 to 2. So Topar could well, if he manages to keep it there at the moment, he's literally just outside of that 1 second range, Topar could really start to stretch a lead.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Topar just needs to, like you said, in fact, is Sven in DRS?
No, he's not going to open. He was outside of it. So, yeah, that's exactly what Topar needed. So, Sven was within DRS range last time around, and he's now got no DRS to fight the charging Topar. This could be, I think it might be, if Topar manages to take the win, I think it'll be his 2nd of the season.
For Topar?
Yes, for Topar.
Topar.
Or would it be his 1st of the season?
Topar has 2 wins already.
Oh, two already.
Bahrain and in Spain. He's but since then his results haven't been too brilliant until last time out, Silverstone, where he got a P2. So this is important for Topar. Sven, we've seen him being really competitive pretty much from the get-go. Although it hasn't always gone his race, he has always been in the top 3. So he's definitely got the pace to stick with Topar. Sven actually does have a win as well.
Formula Danny getting a little bit twitchy on that tail again of the Haas. We've just seen as they're coming through. He's staying with Timp as best he can. He's already got that penalty result. Still a long way to go though. We've still got 30 laps on the board to go through. So anything and everything can happen in that time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was going to say earlier, but there's so much action. This is a track where getting penalties is quite possible. I mean, you know, you can go wide on exit turn 14 to have a main straight, exit turn 11 onto that sort of second long straight.
Raven is in. We have a pitter. That's surely got to be for damage. He's on the soft tyre. He's on the harder tyre. That's got to be damage related for Raven. Yeah, new front wing going on the Williams. Oh, he is going to be sick with that one. Now, Sven!
He got a penalty. Oh dear.
Oh dear, oh dear. Now, the drivers can be informed through the race engineer of things like that, but as magically Raven's tyres changed from red to white, so surely he's got to be on the medium tyre. He wouldn't go super soft at this stage. Surely he'd go...
medium tyres, yeah, he is on the medium tyres for me.
He'd go medium to the end, I would have thought.
Yes, on lap... Yeah, anywhere before lap 8 is good for medium territory. Otherwise, I think we might see people pit on around lap 12 for the optimum strategy, which is soft, super soft. So
jumping up to this battle then. So Topard leads Sven by 1.6 near enough. Who leads Matt Sorensen by about 1.5. So we've got 4, 5 and 6 in this shot. Tim, Formula Danny and Isaac Price separated by no more than half a second between each of them. So Tim's got 1.7 between him and Matt Sorensen, and you can just see the gap, just over 3/10 between each one. Danny's had a pretty good drive out of that turn 1. Can he do something against Tim? Not before he gets to turn 2. But all the pressure is on the Toro Rosso at the moment. Oh, you just see how the tails have been wagging all race long, particularly for Formula Danny. He seems to have a very lively back end on that car.
Yeah, I mean, it seems another driver who I've noticed has quite a lively back end is Donoso. He's getting an awful lot of oversteer in some of the corners, which I think caused his little issue which he had earlier where he lost all those positions. Danny is, obviously going at the max to try and close down Timp, his championship contender. So this is a really important position. It's not just 4th, it's to lead championship at the end of this race. Tim finished ahead of Danny, he will be ahead of Danny by just a handful of points, which is obviously very important for him.
He'll have a 7-point lead if he stays in this position by the end, but you can see from that overhead shot that Price has fallen a little bit off the back of these two. So Tim had a decent run through that last turn. Now, as you can see, Danny has got DRS. Brandon Lee has come into the pit as well. I would think it's going to be for medium tyres. Oh, there's going to be a dive on the inside of the Haas. He can't make it stick, though. I think he wisely had to back out of that. Again, you see the tail just does not want to stick for Formula Danny at the moment. Back into the line. Now, when's going to be the optimum time to get rid of these starting super softs?
Lap 12. Lap 12. Anything before lap 12, if you're going onto the soft compound tyres, is quite risky, especially in terms of punches.
Donoso again!
Another penalty.
Another one.
To calm down.
That drops him a long way down. If he's now got 6 seconds worth of penalties, that drops him really down to about 12th. That drops him outside of the points. He's getting very impatient with that force, India.
He is. I mean, he just needs to keep his head on, keep it. He had a good qualifying. He was doing well, but you make one mistake and it all goes wrong. He just needs to, keep calm now. He just get around the track. He knows he has the pace. He's an esports finalist and podium sitter. So it's just a case of driving, which he is usually very good at doing. But he's had so much luck, bad luck, in this PC league.
Mixture of if he didn't have bad luck, he'd have no luck. And there's Marek coming into the pits as well. So an early stop for him for the second Haas driver. Let's see if there's going to be damage for him, as we've got some position swapping. There's Max and Fizzy losing positions. Is it going to be a nose for the Haas? Nope. It's a tyre change. Medium tyres for him. Yep, I wouldn't be surprised at all at this point. Go on.
We've got good battle 17th and 16th. It looks like Max is going to try and be inside.
That's a busy bit of track. That was Brandon Lee you just saw. From his early pit stop. He's on the soft tyres, interestingly. So he's got softer rubber than those around him. Look at that. Both Red Bulls and the Sauber. Oh my goodness me, there's a dive. That's Max, I think it is. Beg your pardon, that is Brandon Lee having a dive on the medium tyres. I thought it was
He's going to join the party. He's just overtaken Max on the inside. Good job from him. I mean, flipping out, it was quite quiet, Kodiak, until Merrick's going to penalty.
Oh dear!
Until the Haas came out from the pit,
Yeah.
and I think it was the Red Bull almost hit into the back of the Haas simply because he was trying to. Brandon was trying to overtake.
Sven is in. Sven is in from second position. So Topar had actually. Oh no, ACR nobody has got himself a penalty as well. So Sven is in, as is Carl Renegade from 9th position. So that's going to drop Sven down a way. Topar already had 2-second lead on the Renault at that point. Surely he's not going to super softs again, is he? Let's just wait because they've been changing colour. Oh, that's Rico Gordon out. We've lost one of the Ferraris. There he is. Oh my goodness me, he's hit the pit entry wall. Now, we didn't see what led up to that point, whether he made a late dive for the pits and didn't quite make it, or was spun into that position. We don't know. I'm sure we'll catch up with that. That is our first casualty of the night. Topar now has a 3.8 second lead over Matt Sorensen.
Yeah, well, for me, it shows that Sven is on the super soft compound tyres. Does that correlate with what you're...
If we can find him.
Yes,
yes, he is.
Well.
Yes.
He's a two-stop strategy. He needs to dispatch of Kalon ASAP, and surely not in the chicane.
Oh!
Wow!
He shoved Kalon wide. That's not really a surprise.
Very pleased about that. It looks like Rengrade's got himself a penalty as well. Penalties galore. Are you seeing Russia all over?
That's exactly what I was thinking. Well, as far as penalties were concerned, I mean, we had half the field in close battle for a long time. I'd love to see that again, as much as that was difficult to keep up with. But now none of the top guys have come in. Slick and Non-Runner from 7th and 8th respectively have decided to come in to ditch those super soft tyres. This is around lap 12, the optimum time to do so. So the McLaren then, who's slightly ahead of the Renault, as you can see there, not a great deal in it. Softs going on for the McLaren and for the Renault. That's a fairly decent arrangement there. Going to come out, probably come out ahead of Fader. So that'll be 10th and 11th. No, Fader's just gone past them. So that is Slick coming out in 12th. Non-Runner's down to 15th. What a pack of cars he's just come out in.
So interestingly, round here it's about a 22 second pit stop, and Sven has already crunched his original gap of 2 odd seconds to now 19. So he's in effect 2 seconds in the lead. So he's gained like 4 seconds now on Topar. If Topar comes in now, and I would have thought Topar's going to come onto the soft compound tyres and then go to the end. He's probably waiting as long as possible because he doesn't know if Sven's came in. But when he comes out behind Sven and see that he's on the super soft,
and in he is, and in he comes. But that's risky though from Sven, because he's got to build up a 21-second lead to make that pay off, and he's got a lot of traffic to fight through. He's got Donoso, Price, Formula Danny, Timp. And
he might be lucky because a few drivers have came into the pit.
Oh, that was slow.
Played a pretty good car.
Yeah, that was slow from Topar. He couldn't get away as quickly as he would have liked. He's going to come out in fourth. Sven says the fastest at 189. He's going to come out in the lead. In the respective lead, he's gone through. He's up to what is actually fourth position. There he is coming through turn 1. Topar on the harder rubber, so he's probably not going to be able to keep up with Sven for a while. This could well be, exactly as you say, Hamish, this could be a masterstroke from Sven. Timp leads the way then with Formula Danny and Isaac Price in pretty short succession just behind. Just shy of 10 seconds back from Price is Sven, and 3.3 separates Sven and Topar at the moment. Sven's got to absolutely nail it for the next 12 laps to get that gap up to around the 20-second mark to see if his strategy can pay off. As Brendan now has got himself a penalty, so his day's gone from worse to disastrous.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't help him not being able to qualify, but P12, you'd often see Brendan that far down the grid. Sven's 4 seconds ahead of, a bit less, about 3.5 seconds ahead of Topar, which is roughly what we estimated anyway.
Timp and Isaac are in. Formula Danny has chosen to continue. That's surely too long on these tyres. But they haven't done qualifying. Remember, this is a fresh service, so these are fresh tyres. They haven't had any qualifying laps done on them, bear in mind.
So that should be a net 15 laps, because obviously you do an out-lap, quali lap, and in-lap. So I would have thought Danny's going to come in on this lap. However, I think when Danny comes in, he's going to come in out at about P8 11 or 12, probably outside the top 10, especially with most of drivers pitting now, if not all. They'll sort of just be faster than him.
Yeah. So Tim came out in 7th, and Price came out in 9th. So pretty much as you would expect. Seagrove's having a good day. He hasn't come in yet. He's up to 6th position now with Matt Sorensen directly ahead, and Kalon ahead of him, as you can see from that particular shot. So Formula Danny leads the way, but surely he is going to come in pretty soon. It does look like, though, that Hamilton or Matt Sorensen is going to be putting a move on Kalon, even on those medium tyres on the Williams. The McLaren is directly behind Hamilton, as you can see from that shot. Oh, goodness me, you saw Sorensen getting a little bit out of shape. I don't think Kalon's been in yet. No, he hasn't. And Formula Danny's... Oh, my God.
Move.
And he made it stick as well. Fair play from Matt Sorensen. Now that he's going to run off into the distance, as he's pitted and Kalon has not. So Formula Danny is in, and that's soft tyres going onto the Haas. That's to be expected. Sven now leads. Topar in 2nd. 3.2 separates those two. And where's Danny going to come out?
Oh, we're free ride down the main straight with 2 Toro Rossos and the McLaren. Tim has just made a move on the McLaren for 4th place, which is quite significant because he hasn't stopped. He has stopped, and the 2 drivers behind him hasn't stopped.
He's looking Kalon off
for a move as well. Kalon, like you said, he's off. Isaac has gone through as well. Wow, it was all happening down the main straight.
Oh, Sochi, anyone? I think we might have made that comment before. Look at this. As Seagrove, oh, what a shame. He's having such a great race and just picked himself up a penalty as well. Oh, and just as we saw Seagrove, that's Renegade that's just come past in 4th position in the Ferrari. Oh, I need to learn to breathe more. I'm trying to get so many words out. I'm running out of breath.
I mean, Topar's actually closed the gap on Sven as well.
Oh, he has?
It's quite bizarre. I mean, considering, Sven's tyres should be pretty solid,
pretty alive,
20, and well, he's not showing that at the moment, so that's not going to be good, because if Sven has to pit, well, he's going to be outside. He's going to be outside the top 15.
Oh, that's Formula Danny gone to an outside move on turn 14 on Seagrove. That's a very nice move. Seagrove losing another position. Surely Seagrove's in. No, he's not. Either he had people on his inside so he couldn't pit, as Marek is in the pit again, so his day's getting no better. But look at this, such a massive clump of the field so close together. And yeah, exactly as you say, Topar is not losing any time on that hard rubber at all. And no, there, you just saw the Renault go out the shot there, so he's having a great day here.
Yeah, I mean, we got another move. Danny's trying a move on Kalon. Is he going to make it stick around the outside of turn 3? Yes, he has. Now Slick is going to have a go on the inside of Kalon on turn 4. Oh my God. Oh, that's a bit wide. He's going to give a place back. Ooh,
he then had the inside line, so bit of wheel banging between the McLaren and the Toro Rosso. The Red Bull, that's Brandon Lee already behind. I can't keep up with this. This is amazing.
It's incredible. Brandon's just
lagged. I was just thinking, whoa, my God, he's gone wide, and then he lagged. So Seagrove's lost another couple of positions. That's Fab Racer and Don. Go on.
No, just went down the inside of turn 11. That looked pretty good. And that was
another penalty. Another penalty for Don. And we've lost Marek. We've lost Marek from the session. His car's still going, but we have lost Marek from the race then, as Kalon, look at that, that's Fat side by side with Fab Racer, as that's non-runner that's sizing up a move with Brandon Lee, I think it is, on a Seagrove, beg your pardon, so already behind, on board with the McLaren.
Even battling for 3rd place is heating up with Tim trying to move around the outside of Hamilton, and he's making it stick so far. Hamilton's going to have the inside, now the inside coming up to turn 4, Hamilton no one had DRS, bizarrely.
I would imagine that's a visual bug.
Move for 3rd place, so fair play. It was a pretty solid move from Tim. I don't know if you saw, but just sweeped around the outside of turn 2.
Very nicely done then. So Tim moves up to 3rd. A man on a mission that he is trying to claw his way up through the field, but this leaves Danny in a pretty bad position as far as the championship is concerned. He's down to 7th and stuck in that big old pack with Isaac Price and Renegade not too far away. Brandon Lee is now in 9th position. Oops, with a bit of a tail slapper there, trying to size up a move on Slick. That's for 8th position. So he's kicking off absolutely everywhere. Oh, Brandon spun! He's put it in the wall. He's lost. I think he's lost his nose.
Oh my gosh!
That's
really uncharacteristic.
And he's out. He is out. He's chosen to retire from the race. I don't think it could have gone any worse for Brandon. He disconnected during qualifying and is now out.
Oh dear. Well, it looks like Nona's going to try and move on Fab Racer down the inside in turn 1. He hasn't quite been able to make it. He's going to have another stand with DRS coming into turn 2 or 3, depends how you look at it. And he's going to take a wide line to get a late apex and get on the power early. I would be surprised if he's going to get a good enough run down to turn 4. Is he going to make it stick? No, he isn't, but pretty close from the Pink Panther and the Yellow Banana of the Renault. Hampton has another.
Oh dear, that's a penalty from 4th. Then that gifts Isaac Price that 5th position. Of course, there's before any other penalties applied, and we're on board with Danny then as Car Renegade flies off wide. That's going to be an easy move for Danny on the inside of turn 12, and job done. Now he has Price in his sights.
I think it's going to be the easiest win of the year for Topart, unless Sven's tyres are showing something different on the race director. I do not know, but Topart's only 1.6 behind Sven, our race leader.
And there it is. Look, so as you can see on board now, Sven is catching up with traffic, but I don't think that's been the problem. It just Topart just seems to have had the pace today. Although, I thought that was Sven that had the disconnection mark on his car there. No, that's Marek's ghosted car continuing on his merry way. I was like, oh my goodness me, have we just lost our race leader? But no, we haven't yet. Jumping back down the order, Renegade, as we saw, lost that 6th position to Danny. He's still in fairly short succession to him. Let's see if he's able to close that down, but judging by the pace at the moment, the Ferrari does not have an answer, and he just earned himself a penalty. He happened to be off camera at the point that clicked in. Fab Racer is close to non-runner then. This is for the last of the points paying positions, but we know as Kalon now. I mean, we're going to get to a point where get your notepad out, Hamish. It looks like we've got another sausage on our hand.
That's why I was going, oh god, more writing. I just finished writing out Redgrave's penalty, but and now we've got Kalon. Jesus. I mean, the drivers can appeal against these penalties if they think it is unfair, but doubtless a lot of these will stick. I mean, track limits to track limits.
Fizzy! Oh my goodness me! That is a rare sight. The Lord God of AOI getting a penalty himself. Dear, oh dear.
He's going to be gutted.
He's going to be livid. And he's also not going to live it down for a while, I can assure you of that.
So it'll be interesting to see what Sven does. If he is on the super soft tyres, as we are led to believe, he's going to be pitting within the next couple of laps, otherwise his tyres will just blow up.
Yeah, from what I can see, the overlay tells me he's on super softs. Your race director, which is generally right, the race director is normally correct in these things, says super soft as well.
Super soft. And I can see it on track, so we think he's on super soft.
Well, if he pits in another, 4 laps, 5 laps, then that'll tell us.
I would say less than that, to be honest. I mean, when did...
Fab Racer again. Fab Racer, another penalty. Somebody else did, but I didn't see who that was. It clicked so quickly. Timp and Topart, do they have penalties? I don't think they do, actually.
No, they don't. Timp doesn't, Topart doesn't. Sven does have one penalty.
So Sven has technically already lost the lead, but that does not matter at all. Topart is in DRS range. We've just seen it open on his car. He is so alive. Where has this pace been from the Mercedes?
Also just got another penalty.
He did a little while ago. I was looking at Topart just.
Well, because if he gets one more, he's going to get disqualified. So that's not going to be ideal.
Renegade is in. If he's on super soft tyres, I'm not surprised. So where's he going to go on to? So that's going to be soft tyres for the Ferrari. That's fairly understandable. A big hold there. As Topart, just as we say it, commentator curse. I mean, he's 9 seconds ahead of Tim, so he's not really. Both of the top two have the same penalty, I believe. So
at least it's on track racing now, which is good.
Indeed.
But the top two have been, I'd say, the cleanest out of everyone. Unfortunately, I say unfortunately, the penalty system in this game is very much it's not like real life. You have to stay in between these white lines, otherwise you will get a penalty, and the drivers only get a couple of chances. I mean, I saw Sven go a little bit wide there. I mean, that is probably a warning. You tend to get a penalty, 3 warnings, then another penalty, then 3 warnings, and then another penalty. So you tend to get 3 chances, and then you're out.
So just 3 separates the Renault and the Mercedes now. Sven already taking a defensive line, heading down towards turn 1. Topaz not going to quite gain enough. Heading into turn 1. Oh, but Sven didn't have a good run through it. Topaz keeping that pressure on. That's such a long angle camera, that one, but there they are. Is he going to have a crack into turn 2? Not quite, not close enough. So the next opportunity is really going to be turn 5, unless he can bully Sven into a mistake.
Oh, Sven's gone a little bit wide. Turn 4 is a potential for overtaking, only because it's so unusual. You see it. Drivers don't expect it. They don't defend into turn 4, because your exit, turn 5, is so horrendous. You just need to keep to your line. So if a driver does have a look at turn 4, then, you know, there is a possibility of a move being made. However, they're pretty much single file through the second sector as they come on towards turns 10 and 11. And is
here he goes.
Going to have a move. He's in the slipstream on the inside, breaking out
the 12
meters, and he's bullied his way past Sven. And that is a pretty solid move from Piper, although a little bit cheeky. I don't think Sven's going to be overly happy.
Oh, Hamilton's got himself a penalty again. Oh, goodness me. And Sven's in! So Sven was on the super soft tyres.
Oh dear.
Oh no, we've lost him! We've lost Hamilton! There he is! He's retired from the race. We don't see any obvious damage, but he's out. He's in 6th, I think it was, before he retired. Oh, goodness me. Mad Saracen is gone.
He's just parked it. Well, at the time, parked on the whenever it was, like, last corner. He just parked on the last corner. So that's a bit strange. We don't have any information about that. If we do, we will let you know. But Sven, oh dear, it's not gone too well for him. He's actually luckily up in 5th, but 19 seconds. I mean, yeah, he's going to have to do something pretty special. I don't know if you want me to go through any of the penalties, so you know what people have got. If there's not too much battling going on, nobody says.
ACR, nobody sets the fastest lap, so he's now making a move. He's down in 12th. Let's see what he can do. Seagrove's been in the pits, and he's come out. Non-runner's got himself a penalty as well. Oh, you may as well, but I suspect they're going to change between now and the end of the race. But give us an idea on where we stand with penalties.
So, Danny, he has a penalty. Topar has a penalty. Brandon has a penalty.
Brandon's out.
Kalon has a penalty. Sven has a penalty.
Another penalty for Fab Racer.
Well, Fab Racer's got... Good God. He's got 15 seconds of penalty. I think. Yeah.
15?
Yeah, 15 seconds of penalty. Fizzy has a penalty. Marek, nobody, and non-runner have a penalty. Sergo also has a penalty. But people who don't have penalties, which are very much the stars of the race so far, is Tip, Raven, Max, Failer, Slick, Ramdrop, and Isaac. They don't have penalties at this point in time. Hamilton, before he retired, he had 3 lots of penalties.
Wow. Wow. So, let's have a run through there. This is the first opportunity I've had to actually probably run through where everybody is. Topar leads the race by 9 seconds over Timp now, after the strategy from Sven rather backfired. Isaac, 3rd, with Danny in DRS range and ready to strike in 4th. There is Sven. 5 seconds down from the pair we've just seen. Slick, within 3 seconds. He's got a yellow fuel light on this. He's got to be careful of his fuel usage. Non-runner in 7th. Fab Racer, the penalty king, in 8th position. Failer in 9th. Renegade in 10th position, keeping Failer company. ACR Raven in 11th. ACR Nobody, 12th. Kalon, 13th, with Seagrove shortly behind in 14th. Fizzy on his own. Sven's got himself the fastest lap then. So Sven now beginning to make a charge. Max in 16th, and Marek right to the back. He's a ghosted car. So we have 16 effective runners left in this race.
Sven is going very quickly. I mean, he's lucky he's going quick because Slick doesn't have a penalty, and that could have demoted him, but I don't think that's going to happen anymore. So, realistically...
Well, unless he gets any more.
Well, yes, very true. Realistically, I think he could probably take Danny and Isaac, but then Isaac doesn't have a penalty. Realistically, he has a possibility of P2 today. Whether that will happen, we don't know. I mean, he was 19 seconds behind Topar when he came out of the pit. He is now 17, so he's already gained 2 seconds.
We will see as we have 11 racing laps remaining. As we just seen Renegade do an outside manoeuvre on Failer into turn 1, so he's just gained that 9th place pre-penalty, of course. Now the field beginning to spread out and get into the rhythm. It's taken this long for them to do so. ACR nobody on it, and that is Matt Sorensen leaving the session. Oh goodness me, that's nobody. Getting very, very interested in his American teammate, teammate, clansman I should say. Both of them being in ACR. Red Bull trying to get his way past that. Williams now is going to be an opportunity heading down to turn 12. Super soft shot. Red Bull diving on the inside of the medium shot. Williams, that's surely going to be job done. But Raven's going to have the inside. And no, the pass is done before they get through 13. And that is nobody up to 11th.
Yeah, just to answer a couple of questions in chat, sign-ups for Season 15 will be after Season 14 has finished. Not immediately after, I mean probably a couple of weeks after Season 14 finishes, but that's nothing set aside. Someone's asking about Isaac having a penalty. No, he has not got a penalty. Isaac is currently P3 with penalty free.
Yeah. So we just saw Fab Racer lose that position to Renegade. I've got failure of company. Oh, and that Force India does not want to stick. He's got and there's ACR nobody earning himself a penalty as well. He has got Raven for company, so that's going to cost him a position. They are out of the points at the moment, but with the amount of penalties further up ahead, that could well change as well. Now you see the Sauber of Failure trying to get some pressure on the Pink Panther as he gets very, very close heading into that turn 12. And again, with the amount of penalties, he may not have to push too hard. Here's a look on the inside, and I wonder whether Fab Racer just let that one go because he was so deep into 13. He may well have just let the Sauber through. Sometimes it is better just to relinquish the position than just fight too much and lose time for both of you.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I've just noticed, I mean, although the lead seems like it's pretty much set in stone, if Topar is to get a penalty, him being penalty free, and all he'd have to do is gain 3 seconds, and he's going to be really in the mix. So potentially, Tim, without knowing it, he can actually win this race. But that obviously meaning that Topar would need to get an extra penalty. He already has 1, so we will wait and see what happens there.
Could well happen.
Pretty well. He's 5 places up. Ferdinand's actually 1 place down, so I suppose if he does finish in P4, he'd be moderately happy with that. He hasn't lost any places nor gained. Danny's right on the back of Isaac. He's probably just under a second. He's got DRS. I doubt he's going to be able to make use of it down the straight, as in you really have to be within about a couple of attempts to, have a move possibility into turn 1, but he hasn't been able to do that.
He's keeping the pressure on Isaac, though. Still plenty of time for the house to do something about the car ahead. So we will see how that plays out. But Topar is now 10 seconds ahead of Timp. So Timp is, I would imagine, he's pushing as hard as he needs to, but probably he's settling for the fact that he's not going to gain 10.5 seconds in, what would that be, 7 racing laps, or slightly under now. So that is where he will settle. Isaac has got just under 2 seconds between himself and Timp, but he's far more interested in Danny behind him. Just saw Sven in the shot at the back of her. That's 2.3 between Danny and Sven. As Danny gets a little bit wide on the exit of 11, and Sven.
Oh, that's going to hurt him quite a bit because I don't think Slick has a penalty.
There's 9 seconds between Slick and Sven, so that's going to certainly help. Slick will certainly take that for the McLaren team. So Danny now getting DRS on Isaac Price ahead, but that's 8/10 of a gap between the two. He's not going to close that down in DRS. Max,
and someone else as well who I didn't see.
I saw Max. I didn't see who was before it, and now Isaac didn't look like he had a good run through one, but hasn't managed to. Formula Danny hasn't managed to close that gap down to a great degree, so maybe both of them didn't have a particularly good run through that turn, as we're on lap 29 of 35 here in Hungary.
Yeah, Isaac will be very pleased with the podium position. First time he's finished on the podium in his 2 races he has completed. He's had a P12 and a P6. He got his P6 due to other people's penalties, so this will be his first race where he's been, he's really been on it. I think he's pretty competitive. Tim doesn't want to get a penalty because otherwise he's going to potentially get demoted. Has Isaac got a penalty? I don't think he has. No, he hasn't. So, yes, Tim just needs to keep it clean now, otherwise he's going to be demoted to P3 and Isaac's going to get a stunning P2.
Around turn 13 then for this battle that we're seeing now. 6/10 between the two, so Formula Danny has managed to reel Isaac in a little bit. So just keep it clean through that final turn, as both of them do. And of course, because the Mercedes is able to get on the gas a little bit early, but you can see that the Haas has definitely closed in a couple of tenths. Always gone deep into turn one, a little bit of a lock-up, managed to keep it clean though. And again, you see half a second now. Isaac will be very aware of the fact that Haas is getting a little bit bigger in his mirrors as each lap progresses. And that sort of thing does weigh on you. You hit your marks, you get your lines right, but you know full well that there's someone behind you closing in, and you know how many laps are left. And that sort of thing starts to bug you, and it can kind of force you into an error. It depends how focused you are. I'm actually signed up to an AOR league that starts on Tuesday, and I know full well, I highly doubt I'll be in a position to, I'm sure I'll be jumping out of way for blue flags more than anything else, but that sort of thing does bug you. You know full well there's somebody behind you that can potentially be quicker than you. So you start to think about them. Ooh, mind you, Formula Danny had a big snap of oversteer there on the exit of 11. That's going to slow him down a little bit. But again, look how that gap is just shrinking. Isaac's going to have a lot of work to do for the remaining laps here at Hungary.
Yeah, as you just highlighted, when you've got a driver behind you and they're closing in, some drivers get affected more than others on pressure. I have no idea what Isaac is like with pressure, but Danny is and has closed in on that lap with that 2 DRS. And, again, he went a little bit deep into turn one. What you want to try not to do, especially around a track like here where overtaking's so slim, you don't want to put all your eggs into one basket, then try a dive bomb move in turn one, then just lose loads of positions, because then you have to work for your next couple of laps just to closing in on the car ahead again. So Danny just needs to keep it a bit more cautious into turn one, I think. Not far behind Tim Peaver, I think. In fact, Isaac's closed in on Tim.
You're actually seeing in this camera shot, there is Tim, and there is Sven. Sven has been reeling this battle in. Look at that. He's now just shy of 4/10 behind Danny. Danny is now going to have to keep an eye behind us. Isaac has just got a penalty. Oh my goodness me. It is Sochi all over again. A late penalty from Isaac. He's going to be furious at that. That could really shuffle this mixture up. But Sven...
It hasn't, Kodiak. So... Isaac has a penalty, Danny has a penalty, Sven has 2 penalties, so this is battling full position now.
Oh, it's Formula Danny!
Right. Sven's got to move down the main straight and he's made it stick. Fizzy has got another penalty.
Fizzy? Oh dear, Fizzy is having an extremely bad day in the office. So, yeah, again, it depends on how aware of the penalties the other drivers are as to whether, how much Formula Danny will, for instance, try and challenge Sven. He doesn't have to with the penalties that are in place, but Danny may not be aware of this, and I suspect he probably won't be, but that's going to give Isaac a little bit of breathing space to try and chase after Tim. He's nearly in at Formula Danny. Oh no! He's just given himself a penalty and just pretty much written himself out of this battle. Oh dear, oh dear. But again, these penalties can be contested after the race, so we'll see if any stewards' inquiries from Sven is a man alive now. He's already on the back of the Mercedes. Isaac Price challenging for on-track position, at least third place, with there's only three and a bit racing laps to go. But they're catching on Tim. They are going to be within DRS range. He's bang on a second for Isaac Price behind Tim. He may just be outside at the moment. Look at that, they're already leaving Formula Danny behind. Now Sven's obviously going to have DRS on Isaac. Is he going to make a move on the inside? Isaac feeling the need to make a little bit of a defensive move. The Renault throws it on the inside. Isaac saw it coming, gave the racing room. Sven now through to third. He is absolutely charging, but with the penalties he's got, he may not have enough time to try and undo them. He's gone deep! Oh, he's gone deep into that turn. He has actually made it stick as well. Goodness me, brilliant driving from the Renault.
Yeah, very good from Sven. I mean, bad news for Danny, but good news for Sven, that Danny's penalty he picked up has actually sort of gifted Sven an extra position, because Sven has 2 lots of penalties. So if Isaac gets another penalty, then Sven's going to finish on the podium. Tim doesn't have any, so Tim's kept himself very clean. Sven doesn't know that unless he's listened to the race director in the last 10 seconds, which I'd be surprised if he has. But you can see Sven's considerably faster on these fresher tyres, considering they are a lot fresher. They're a lot fresher, and I think he pitted on that, what was it, 21, I think, Sven.
21, 22, something like that, yeah. So everyone else has put a lot more mileage. He went very deep on the exit of 13. But he's already, look at that. He's
got a good run.
He's had a brilliant run here. He's having a great day in the office. That is going to be a move. I would think it's going to be a fairly easy move on the inside of turn 1. Wow. Big lock up though. Let's say he has made it stick, but he has not got enough time to start charging off the Topar, who still have 10.2 to himself out there at the front as we are on the penultimate lap.
Yeah, so overall Sven's strategy is probably about 12 seconds slower due to the circumstances he's been in. Maybe if he had a completely clear track it would have worked, but it obviously didn't. Now the main thing to focus on now is if Isaac finishes 3 seconds behind Sven, then Sven will actually have a podium position. So we just need to keep an eye on that. Otherwise, Sven will be outside the podium. So Isaac doesn't know it. He just needs to keep pushing and, you know, just try his absolute best to stay within 3 seconds of Sven.
As they come around turn 13 for the penultimate time. Where is our race leader? There he is. He's just about to start the lap 35, the final lap. Sven, he's already closed in about a second and a half. Look at the gap back to Tim. Absolutely incredible, but it's fairly academic as far as the penalties are concerned. But it's all going to be down to the timings, exactly as Hamish has just explained. It's all going to be how they manage the gaps. The real battle, though, is going to be, we're on board with Isaac. He's keeping the pressure on Tim. He just has to keep it clean, and that podium position will remain in his hands. 1.5 between Tim and Sven, so Sven's doing what he can to try and keep that position to himself.
Yeah, absolutely. Sven's driven a really good race so far. Let's hope he can continue that. He's going to be frustrated with his strategy, but he now needs to forget about that. And blimmin' hell, I think Topar has made a pretty major mistake, because Sven's just closed in by 3 seconds. Not that it really matters, because Topar only has 1 lot of penalty, so in his net lead is 10 seconds.
Someone in chat just said puncture incoming. I wondered if Topar had a puncture, but no, he doesn't. But here he is then, the winner here in Hungary by a mile. He's had the pace to himself. Oh,
sorry, Isaac is like literally, he's at 1,000th off getting a podium position. Is he going to make it stick? He just needs to give it a little bit more. Him and Tip are going to race to the line. I doubt he's going to be able to get him. No, he isn't.
Oh,
Isaac,
very close.
Just
so
outside.
Topar,
magical 3 seconds.
Topar then taking the win. 6.7 was the final finishing gap between himself and Timp in that big old gaggle of cars there. Sven then classified in third. Just, oh, look at that. Just a 1/10.5 separating Sven and Isaac. for that in that fourth position. Formula Danny in fifth. That's going to really hurt. He's come away with 10, while Timp has come away with 18. So yeah, that's going to hurt the championship.
8 points, yeah.
But there's plenty of rounds left, though. To be fair, Slick comes home in sixth position. He will be delighted with that for McLaren. Non-runner comes home seventh. Our borrow driver in the Ferrari coming home in eighth. Failer 9. ATR Nobody rounds out the top 10. Raven just outside in 11th. Kalon 12. That is where Fabrizio Donso finished. He actually and the race is now done before I had a chance to go through it. He finished in 13th. Our pole man. Oh, he will not be pleased with that. So he has a finish on the board finally. But as you've left the session already, Hamish Bradley.
Yes, I think I accidentally clicked the exit button.
And there is the podium 3 then. The Mercedes 51. Quite happy to take that top spot. And thoroughly deserved as well. Fair play to Topar for that one. Look at that. I'm sure they are just as happy amongst themselves as well.
Rather coincidentally, Topar winning that race is 63 points behind the leader. Well, if he wins all the next races, and let's say, Tim now finishes second, is exactly 63 points. So
he's well in the champ.
More than we think.
More than we've probably given him credit for.
Absolutely, he's already gained 7 today. So 63 minus 7, whatever that is, if my maths is correct, it's like 56.
Yes,
is not too far off. So
Topar takes the win from Tim. Sven third, Isaac 4, Formula Danny 5, Slick 6th, Non-Runner 7, Renegade 8, Failure 9, and nobody rounds out the top 10. Who can we find to talk to? Well, let's see who is going to talk to us. There's not many in chat, unfortunately. Let's see.
No, there's more than there were at the beginning of the race, which is a bit bizarre.
Yeah, there were actually more earlier on. Let's see. I'm just messaging Tim to see if he wants to have a chat with us.
Danny's usually up for chat, although his race wasn't ideal. Tim is in the ready for interview, so we are going to bring him down so Kodiak can conduct the interview.
And there he is. Tim, how are you feeling after that one? Wow.
Oh, that was so good. And also so frustrating and so stressful also. I have no clue how about P2 and gotta gain 5 positions.
Oh, I mean, you look like you were under quite a lot of pressure, particularly right at the end there. I mean, were you kind of aware of your penalty standings to everyone else, or were you just thinking, just get to the end? Yeah,
I got informed that cars behind has a lot of penalties, so that was quite a relief, to be fair, because I know that I don't have any penalties. And the fact that I got my 2 warnings in lap 2 and 5, so I had to do...
Oh, wow!
I had to do 30 laps without getting warnings, and on the that soft stints, it was so hard to. I was always getting that turn 4 so carefully. I didn't even. I did one. It just at least 3 times when it was so close to get a warning, but yeah, I didn't manage to get a warning, and yeah.
Oh, brilliant stuff. Topar, hello to you.
Yo, what's up?
You were untouchable, or it looked like that from our perspective. Did you sort of feel you had such a big pace advantage over everybody else, or were you just sort of taking everything that came your way? How was it to you?
Well, I knew if I got the lead from turn 1, it would be my race. But then we had three restarts.
1 or 2, yeah.
So yeah, it was quite tough, but I still managed to do it every time. But yeah, from there on, I knew I had the race, and in the end I didn't really have to push anymore, just save the tires and fuel and bring it home.
I mean, did you have an inkling before you went through qualifying that it was going to go your way that much, or is it just a case of let's see what happens? Did you feel that confident to start with?
No, I didn't feel that confident, but after the qualifying I did my fastest lap online ever in the qualifying session, so I know I had the pace. Yeah, it worked out really well.
Great stuff, great stuff. Well done on the win. That really put you back in the championship hunt. And Formula Danny, hello to you.
Hello, I just came in to congratulate all of the Podium guys and listen to the interview.
Well, I mean,
I wanted to pit when Tim did, or even earlier, but I finished the race with more than 75, and I went to pit with more than 75%, and after that 75% you have the high risk to get a puncture. So I couldn't even do any other strategy, it was the only option for me. I tried to be very, very cautious on the throttle. I went a lot of time in lean mix and just didn't try to attack and just save my tires, but I don't know how these guys do that, how these guys can save their tire. Maybe it's the setup or I don't know, but in the first 10 laps I didn't even try any attack, I just went behind Tim in lean mixture, and I guess he had a better tire that way as well. So it's a thing what I need to study.
Great stuff, great stuff. Where did you feel you were sort of pace-wise when you went into qualifying? Did you think you would be towards the front as you ended up being, or did you feel that were you not so confident that you would be towards the front this time?
When I did a 26.2, I guessed that it would be a P3 or something like that. I didn't expect anything under 16. So Topa and Fabricer, I don't know how they did that, but it was a fantastic job by them. After at the race in the first stint, I was faster than Tim, but in the second stint, he was faster than me. And he didn't get any warnings, and I got 2 penalties, so he was the guy today, because this race I just wanted to finish in front of him, but this time I couldn't do that, and I'm waiting for Belgium to just revenge.
Awesome stuff. Anything from you, Hamish?
No, I don't think so. I mean, we had a pretty awesome race. There's quite a lot of maths going on with all the penalties, but otherwise, I thought it was pretty good. Next time out, we have Spa, one of, I think, everyone's favourite racetrack, to be honest. Not just mine and possibly yours, Kodiak.
I am a fan of Spa from a spectator. I mean, I can't drive any of them particularly well, but from a spectator standpoint, I absolutely love Spa.
So that should be quite exciting. That's next week. Hungary has been a pretty phenomenal race, and it's had a little bit of everything.
Hasn't it just? With a healthy dose of penalties thrown in for the mixture. Thank you very much for our drivers. Thank you very much to Hamish, as always, for being with me in the commentary box.
No problem.
And thank you to those that have watched this broadcast throughout. Again, we apologise for the technical difficulties at the beginning, but we appreciate the fact that you stuck with us throughout. We will see you back here next time for more AOR action. Thank you very much, and good night.